Hello and welcome to Pizza 360. I'm Daniel Lee Perea. Joining us today via Skype is our friend Mr. Jonathan Porter with Chicago Pizza Tours. Jonathan offers an experience that pizza lovers are embracing in big numbers. Jonathan, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So tell us all about Chicago Pizza Tours.
So, officially on paper, Chicago Pizza Tours started in January of 2010. It's an idea, though, that had been kicked around for years prior. Even as early as, around 2000 or so. It was something that I was just doing with friends, for fun, basically. But around 2008 or so, that's when the economy started to go a little bit south for me. And I was in a family business with a sales position, and I was having a hard time making ends meet because it was mostly commission based. So what ended up happening was I took an evening job teaching tennis for the Park District of Chicago. And while I was doing that, I was working on starting a business plan and putting together the Chicago Pizza Tour. So really started working on it in early 2009 and then launched in 2010.
What all does the tour entail? What does one get on the tour?
Well, I mean, it's just like it says. We based our tour of Chicago around its most defining food, which is pizza. You start out, you book your tickets online, and you go and you show up, and we take you to a really historic pizzeria. We try to go with culturally significant and neighborhood pizzerias for our tour because it's a bus-driven tour, and it starts out. You get the history of Chicago pizza. You get to hear about all the little things, what type of ovens they use to cook with, what type of ingredients they might be using, why this pizza tastes this way, what little nuances go to it. You hear the history of the restaurants, all that. And then the best part is you actually get to taste it. So then you're sitting there in the restaurant, the pizzas come out, you get to try a little bit of it. And the next thing you know, the bus comes by, everybody jumps up, heads out on the bus, and we're going to go do that 3 more times at different restaurants in different neighborhoods throughout Chicago.
Why do you think that touring pizza spots is a popular concept?
Well, it's definitely in Chicago. It's one of the city's most defining features are its architecture, its sports teams, its politicians, and its most defining food, which in Chicago's case just happens to be pizza. Everybody knows Chicago pizza. Most people know it for the deep dish. But we also have really good thin crust pizza as well. We call it tavern style, and it's an excellent way to see the city. Get in touch with what the people that live here, their day to day, what their lives are like, and how they view pizza.
Okay, so what is the Chicago pizza style really? I mean, we all know deep dish, but there's more to it than just that, isn't there?
I'm finally starting to get that question a little bit more because it's a great question. Because people look at Chicago style pizza and what they say is, okay, that means it's about this thick with about 2 pounds of cheese on it, a big deep dish pizza. We've got different types here. So the deep dish is kind of what we're famous for. It was invented at Pizzeria Uno back in the 40s. And it's used in an oil-based crust and all that. So that's what we're known as, like, deep dish pizza. But if you're talking about Chicago style pizza, really the pizza that had been around way before that is what we refer to as Chicago thin crust or tavern style pizza. And it's basically a thin crust pizza. It's a circular pizza that's then cut into squares. And the way that really developed was you had all these bars, on the south side of Chicago that were, you get this working class customers would come in the afternoon when they get off of work, and they would sit there and drink until they got hungry. 6 o'clock or so, they'd head home, get something to eat. So the bars got the idea: why don't we start doing these, these thin crust pizzas, not bread, like a little bit more cracker, crispier type pizzas, and then we'll just cut them up into little squares and what they call cocktail squares, put them out on the bar. And that way these guys could snack on them while they still drank. And they'd stay there another hour, another 2 hours or so. Made all the difference in their bottom line.
Now you have also developed a pizza and cocktails tour. How does that work?
So I was noticing, oftentimes we'd be guiding a tour, and there would be a lot of guys that kind of like, hey, I'm going to start drinking now and all that. And then they kind of turn it into a little bit more of a party. So I was seeing some of these groups do that. I thought to myself, why don't I do this? Why don't I go out and get out in front of this and say, all right, the original tour is what it is. If you guys want to get drinks on your own, feel free. We sit down at every restaurant we have service. Why don't I organize one that's called Pizza and Cocktails? We'll run it on Thursday nights and Saturday nights, and that'll be like our nighttime tour. And I'll try to pair up, hey, you can do red wine with this pizza, or you could do maybe this craft beer with this pizza and all that. That was my original intention. People have preferences on what they drink, so you can tell them what to drink, but they're going to drink whatever they want anyways. So, but that was, I think, this was going to be, the original tour was going to be more of like the foodie tour, and the pizza and cocktails was going to be more your entertainment tour.
All right, so how does one book a pizza tour with you? Where do we find you?
Oh, okay. So the best way to do it is like our storefront is our website. So chicagopizzatours.com is the place where you can find pretty much all the information. We talk about the different types of tours that we offer. We provide some videos to show you what your experience can be like. And there's even a little button there that says buy tickets. And if you go ahead and click on that, it'll show you the schedule. We run fairly often. Especially once we get into the summertime, we'll be running every single day.
Thanks so much for being on the show, Jonathan.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Well, that's about all the time we have for this Pizza 360. For more videos, visit us at pmq.com. Follow us on social media, and subscribe for the magazine for free at pmq.com/subscribe. For Pizza 360, I'm Daniel Lee Perea.